All right. So, all right. So the other time we talked about, we explained I don't know, you got the concept of, what's it called? The concept of addressing, where we said we have relative addresses, and we talked about relative addresses and absolute addresses. Did you get the concepts? Hello? Can you still hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, did you get the concept of relative addresses and the absolute address?
Um, I've not really gone back to what we did the last time,
Okay. Because that will
but I
pay
know if I
us.
sit with it, I would understand it. For absolute reference, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, when we
It,
talk of
it's
absolute,
there for you to be able to alter your data, to be able to go back to whatever you're doing and progress with it.
okay. So when we say
Am I
absolute,
right?
kind of, an absolute address
Okay.
is an address that doesn't change. It's more like a constant. The address doesn't
Or
change. That's
you'll
the
be able to
container.
progress with it, right?
Yeah. You know, all these cells, like all these places I'm clicking, we call them cells now, right? They are more like
Yeah.
they are more like containers, and each of them have address. So when I say this is an absolute address, that means the address, the reference doesn't change, but the contents can actually change. We can say Mike here, and of course you can throw in anything you like into it. We can say Mike for now, and maybe later change it to 5 or 6. It becomes 6. So the content varies, but the address is absolute. It doesn't change. And there was a way we wrote it that day. If we want to refer to this is a dynamic address in that we have I4. You know, whenever, if you click on any set to reference that set, you simply look at this name box. You see the name. So here we have this I6. This is the address of this. But this address changes if we put anything here. Let's say we put a formula here. If you drag over these small dots, you find out that that address starts changing. But when we make it absolute and we drag, let me just say, for instance, we have equals, let me say equals this and enter. So I'm saying this is a dynamic or a relative address because it is relative, it only counts, we're on the same row and we have 1, 2, 3, like 4 steps away from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you put this formula down to this, it will still count. If you want to reference this is no longer, like the value you're going to have here is no longer going to reference this, but it's going to reference this according to how it sweeps, according to the relationship between this one and wherever you're referencing. So it's a relative address. I don't know if you're trying, if you got what I'm saying. This point, this is equal to E5. But if I move it down now, you know, if I copy down, it now becomes, let's check, this is now equal to E6. So it still counts step 1, 2, 3, 4 into this. I'm coming. Let me make this a bit visible for us. That should be on views. I'm coming. On views. Mm, I'm coming. Let me do this. Views. Let's print this. So now, look at what I'm trying to say. I want to on these grid lines. You can see this, right? Looking at this, how many steps do you take to get to this point it's referencing? If you want to move to this, you know, this is equal to E6, right? That means we are copying the value we have in E6. So how many steps do you need to take to get to E6? Hello, you can unmute. Let's just is step 1, 2, 3, 4. You are in this E5 that it's referencing. So on the row, how many steps do you need to take to get to this row? It's 0 step because on the same row, we are on row 5, and you need to take step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to get to this. So whenever you copy this formula to any other cell, it will behave the same way. So whatever the value of this one is going to be on the same row because we had it on the same row, and it's going to be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's why we're having 95 for this. So this kind of address, we call it relative address because it changes according to its position. If you still move it away from here, if I move this away from here, always click this box. You see that it copies. This is 0 because nothing is contained here. So this is now referencing step 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if you're getting the point, or if you get the point, let's continue so we don't waste our time. Hello?
Yes, sir, we can understand you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the concept of absolute addresses. But if you want to make this address, and I mean relative address, if you want to make this address absolute, we now not type what we did. This is 6. Okay, it was this one I was writing. So instead of writing E8, we can just fix the row and the column by saying $E $5. So with this now, if we do the same thing we did before, you find out that the value, it's all referencing, this is the 106, 106, 106. And if you click this to see the address, you see it's still $E $5. This is also $E $5. It's not changing. So everything here, if you even pull it this way, it's still going to be exactly the same in this dollar. So that's the concept of absolute and the absolute addresses and the what's it called, relative addresses. So let me clear all of this and we continue. So I realized the last time we had a class, I was struggling with finding examples that will match what I want to explain. So I had to prepare this ahead of time. So we just be replicating what we have here. What did I do? Clear. So now I want us to produce this, and I explained to you how to create custom styles. So we'll be doing that because if you look at all the tables I have, you find out that they are styled exactly the same thing. So that's the power of that styling we treated the other day. We treated how to create a style, how to name it, and save it. So that's what we'll be using today. Maybe I can just do this here. So in order to get this, we want to dive more deeper into using formulas. So let's practice how to calculate percentage. So there are so many situations where you need to create a percentage. Let's say, like the other time we had our region, our goal, our actual percent, and the rest of them. So let's say we set a goal for the north. We set a goal for the north, and this is what they got. So we might be interested in knowing the percentage of this goal that was achieved. So if they got exactly the goal, that means it is 100% achieved, right? If they go a little beyond what was our expectation or our goal, that means we have an extra. So it's going to be 100 and something percent done. And if we have a little less, then it's definitely a fraction. So how do we do that kind of calculation? I don't know if I should just be creating on the same cell or I should create one again. So let's create one new sheet for that. So we are going to say region, and we say, let's not have region. We can just leave this blank. So let's say we have This was a goal, and we are going to have actual what we actually achieved. That's the our actual sales. Then we now have our percentage. You can say percentage or call it anything, but percentage achieved. Let me just use this percent sign and say achieved. Now we can also have our regions where we had our this was north, it's gonna be south, it's gonna be east, then this should be our what was that? West. So just give me some figures. I want us to be part of. Let's do this together. We can say for the north, our goal was actually let's say 78,200, right? And we achieved. Someone should give me a figure, but it should just run in this tens of thousands.
70,000.
Okay, so we achieved the 70,000. So for here we have let's say 82,300, and we achieved the
85,000.
okay, we achieved 85,000. Then here we have what could we have? We could have 67,000, and we achieved the you can say 45,000.
67.
Okay. Yeah.
No?
Let me just say
65,000.
45,000.
45,000 is fine. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So here we can also have let's say 76,000, and we achieved maybe 80,000. So now this is 8,000, 8,000. So with this now, if we want to calculate our percentage, that's the percentage we achieved from our achievements.
The north
We
is
do
7,000. It should have been 70,000.
okay, sir. Okay,
north.
thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. So with this now, thank you so much, sir. With this now, if we want to calculate this, we know that whenever we want to calculate percentage, we are going to say this value all over, the value is supposed to be multiplied by 100 over 1. That's if we remember from our secondary school algebra. So what we do here in Excel, you either write, let's say if I want to write 60%, I can write 60%. This is fine, or I can write 0.6. So we don't multiply by 100 over 1. If I write 0.6 and I format this as percentage, that is going to give me, let me say, from home. If I format that as percentage, that's going to give me 60% too. So when you make your calculation, what I'm just trying to explain is if we do our calculation, let's say we want to calculate this against this, I will now do maybe let's say this against this. We do equals this all over this. If we multiply by 100 over 1 again, it will give us plenty. It will give us like 6,000%. So with this now, you see we are having 97%, but ordinarily if we are doing our normal algebra, we are supposed to do multiplied by 100 over 1. So with this now, you see we have so much, like it's now much. So that's exactly what we'll be doing. If we want to calculate the percentage of our goal that we achieved, we do what? We are going to divide our actual achievements by the goal we set to see if we got it. So here we are supposed to say, I know you all know this. We are supposed to say this is equal to what? This column divided by this. And we'll say enter. So we are 90% close to our goal. But like we know like what we know about our relative addresses, since it's a relative address, we don't need to start writing formula for this or for each of the cell. You can just select this from this box, drag this down. So that's calculated for us. Here we have the 90%. Here we had an overshoot of 3%. Yes, 67.45, we had a 67%, and here we also had an overshoot. So that's how to calculate percentage. And if you want to enjoy our formulas, like what we did then, I believe because I already created, I created some styles that I would like to be using before the class. If I want to start styling it, to take my time. So you can just highlight this, go to your styles. Let me pin this down. You can highlight this, go to your styles. So from styles, uh, I'm going to choose this for the headers, which I already styled. Then I think I had one. Maybe we can just say, want to, with this now, if you do this, you're going to merge this cell and have one. So I'm going to say calculating percentage of achievements. Let me just say achieved. So with this, you see our styling is faster and we are being consistent. So we can simply come back here and still style this. You can create your own. I want to have this as my title. Then this is already what it is. If I want to have this as body, maybe color it somehow. I can come to this my body style, which I created, and I'm done. So I don't know. I believe, okay. And this styling also style this as dollars. So we can return this to percentage and have what we had. So we understand this, how to get this. Do we have any questions? So we'll move to the next one. All right, so it's well understood. For this, now let's say we set a common goal where we would like everyone to achieve, let's say we want everyone to achieve a set goal. We'll now calculate the values we have in each of these against that goal. So to do that, we can simply come back to this our new cell and create this thing. So here we have to create a cell and call it our goal. We can say this cell is our goal. We can also decide to, let's say, common goal here, which would be just the label, just to tell us what is contained there. Common goal. And what could be our common goal? Someone should just give me a common goal so we do it together again. We can say we want uh, all the regions to achieve a particular goal. We can set the goal to be, let's say, we can say 100K, right? We can set a goal of 100K. So if we set this goal of 100K, let me still expand this. If we have a goal of 100K, remember this is just a label. We can remove this and nothing happens. We can also declare this variable without showing it on the this, which is what most people do. But for the sake of learning, let's have this here. We can call this common goal. This box exactly. So if we call this common goal, this is now what happens. Okay. You know what happened? I already set this as common goal when I was preparing this other one. So when you hit on common goal, it takes you to exactly where it is. So they said that it's called common goal. So we can just set this as we can name it CG, common goal. So this now works because we've set one as whatever one. So we can just pull down what we already have here. To copy a cell, to select and copy, hold down your your control key, then tap on the boundary. If I do this, you see a small crosshair, that small plus sign that appears. So dragging will copy, but if you don't do that, if you don't do that and you do exactly what I was trying to do, what you do is what you achieve is moving. So with this now you see a crosshead with these arrows. No, okay, so that moves it. If you do this, you find out you're moving it instead of copying. So let's take it back. So to copy, I will hold down my what's it called? My control key, and you just make the selection. Hold down your control. Why is this not? I don't want to type that again. So this way we are now copying because I see a lot of similarities with what we already had. So here we are going to say we are calculating what we are calculating is what percentage of our common goal achieved by each region. So we can just say percentage from common goal. I'll send the other this thing for us. So if you want to calculate this percentage from the common goal, that means we might not need this. So we'll clear that. Not there. Not supposed to clear. We'll clear that, then move these cells. We use move now to move it closer. So with this now, if we want to calculate our set goal is 100. We now want to calculate the percentage of this set goal that was achieved by each region. So maybe later you can arrange this if you would like. So if you want to do that, our formula changes, right? How do we now use our formula, if I may ask? We are now going to say equals whatever we have here divided by our common goal, right? Divided by our common goal and enter. Okay, so this let's make this up to this is just 10K. So let's make this up to 100K. I don't know if you got like this number was way smaller than what we are calculating. But look at it now. What I want you to get is with this now, we have an absolute value that we are calculating against. Unlike this other one, this other one, as we moved and this was moving, so we use the relative address. So in this case, because we have an absolute address where we want to calculate against, we are going to write this as an absolute address. So here we just add this dollar sign to lock it. So with that, we still have our 70. But if we drag now, you find out that that part is constant. No. Sorry. This was supposed not to be the one moving. I mean, this is supposed to be the one that is moving. This should be moving. Our common goal shouldn't move. Our common goal shouldn't move. So I don't want it to be common goal. I want it to be, what's the address of that common goal? It could be B10, right? So this is going to be B10.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, common goal was even fine. Naming it common goal was fine. That's C goals, but is this our small common goal? I say common goal. So this is fine. If we now drag down, it will now calculate 85. We know 85,000 against the 100,000 is 85%. This is 45% and this is 80%. So this is how to calculate it. Yeah. Thank you, sir. This is how to calculate. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for the lecture. Please, can you just go back to how you reference that common goal, how you peg that 100,000 to common goal, and then you use the denominator as a common goal instead of key in maybe B dollar or dollar B and dollar 10 to lock that cell.
Okay. I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give it a nice look. Okay, so what we did, clicking this will bring out our common goal. We are calculating against this 1,000. Like our goal is not changing. We only have a goal for all of them. So
Yes.
now, I didn't need to do that again because whenever you give a variable name to a distance, it's absolute.
Sorry, come again.
Like if I name this, if I decide to give this cell, this is the name of this cell, this is G12.
Yeah.
But we can create, we did this in our, is it our last two or last class? If I decide
Oh,
to give this,
I
yeah, if I
missed it.
decide, yeah, you missed it, that's why you. So if I decide to give this a name or declare this as a variable, I can just come to this point and do what? Name it whatever I want to name it. We can say anything. So that becomes the name of this address. So anything now refers to this. Although if you want it to be variable, you can go to
Okay.
our name manager and also touch some parameters. You can tweak some parameters here when you click on formulas. You can come to our name, you can come to, so this one is anything. So from here, you can edit this name, this thing. You see, it's referring to sheet 1 and it's
Okay.
giving us that absolute address, absolute G,
Okay.
absolute 12. Yeah, so we can change this to give it anything we want. That's if you want to affect whatever we did. So
Yeah.
maybe if you check, yeah, if you check our last class, you should be
Okay.
able to get it. Otherwise, we can also
Okay.
decide to use this instead of writing common goal. Since that this what's it say, cell is not changing for like our goal remains what it is. You can come and say $B. That's on B, right?
Yeah.
$10. So this way we have also still fixed it. If you still watch our last class, you should see that was when we exhaustively discussed the absolute and relative addresses. So with
Okay.
this, we should still have the same. The video is online. We should still have the
Okay.
same results. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I will look through.
yeah.
Thanks.
So with this now, if you check this, you see it's not changing. $10 is not changing for any of them. It's not changing. But if we had written something like equals this, I don't want to use this common goal. Let's say equals our actual was on all over G, that's G10, right? So for this, we are going to have, what happened? This is, okay, B10. This is B10. So for this, we are going to have our, okay, this is formatted as this thing. So we are still going to have our same results, but if you now move it, you find out that the formula will crash. Why? Because there's nothing, as you're moving it down, it's counting, it's relative because we wrote a relative address. It's going to count, to get to this, it needs to move step 1, step 2, step 3, then it will move 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you move it down, it will now start counting from this. It will count step 1, step 2, step 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So you find out that this value is not, there's nothing in that value. You can check it. This is now B11 instead of B10 because we didn't lock it. This is now, sorry. This will now be B12. So this one is now referencing this because we didn't lock it. And this one now will be referencing this not B13 because we didn't lock it. So you can just check our last video to find out how we did that.
Right.
But
Thank
for,
you very much.
yeah, for others, I hope what we are doing is clear now. For others, what we are doing, you're following now.
Yeah, somehow.
Okay, it's just a matter of going back to it. Maybe once we are done to, once we are done, I'll release this. But what I'll do maybe between now and tomorrow morning, I'll do some comments so that when I come to the point we are writing, the point we are writing, what's it called? When I come to the point we are writing formula, I can just do a comment. You can actually add a comment to any of these, this thing. I can do a comment to explain what we are doing. So when you go through it, it's self-explanatory, but I will also try my best to explain it while we learn. So the other stuff I wanted to explain is calculating a percentage variance. So someone can decide to say, okay, for this for not on so year, like we are calculating this year against our the previous year. We made a sale and we are about closing for this year. So we want to test what we have against what we had last year. We could decide to check the variance. So to check the variance is just calculate what we have this year, like what we have this year minus what we had last year, all over what we have this year. So to do that, we still have something that looks exactly like what we are doing. I can decide to copy this or we move over. The styling helps us work fast. So maybe when I give the assignment I'll be giving today, you all go and learn how to, you all go and practice creating your own custom style so that you quickly do things. And also that consistency, that's personal branding to achieve it. So here we want to test our cell against the, so here we are going to say, maybe we can say this year, how do we name it? We can say previous year, and here we say current year. Then we can say for regions, we have for north. Maybe for north, we are going to have, so let's get some figures. Let's get some figures. We can still leave them running in tens of thousands. We can say for previous year, we sold the 85,400 worth of in dollars. Then for this year, what can we say we had? You can supply me with values.
90,000.
So we say we had 90,000. So for south, we could have what? Let's say we had 77,000, and now we have we could have 80, or let's say we have 50,000 or 54,000. So east has a, so you can just be helping me on 60,000 previously and now has a 63,000. So 63. So our west is going to have can still have 63,000. 63,000. And now we have 76,000. So if we have this and we want to calculate their percentage variance, what I want to do is to say current year minus previous year, current year minus previous year, then divided by current year.
Yeah,
That
the
is
West,
just,
the value for the West is too big. That's remove the zero.
okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So with this, I think we are good. So to calculate that, what I want to do is this minus this all over this. So someone should help. I want to say this minus, that's current minus previous all over. We know we can actually turn this into, variables like we did. We also treated it in our previous class. We can turn this into variables and it will be more intuitive.
Then you can just click on the cell 90, then you put the minus sign, then click on the other cell with 85,400.
So this is this minus this.
Yes,
all
that's it.
over.
Enter.
All over.
Yeah, all over.
This. And say enter. This is this minus this. Now, look at what is happening. Did you see what happened?
Yes. We need to follow the board mass.
Yeah. So what happened? We should just follow that board mass because we didn't associate this together. This operation happened first before this.
Before the other one.
Yeah. So we have to, if we want this operation to happen first, we have to bind them with that this thing. So with this now,
bracket.
yeah, we can put this down. If anyone doesn't understand, maybe he can explain what he did, and we format it as percent. So the variance is 5%. This is negative 43%. Then I didn't want to get into this, but we'll touch it. So maybe can you explain to them what you did? Do we have questions?
Any question? If they have any question, they can ask. Because for me, I don't. It's something very basic. I don't know how to explain it. You know, the 90,000 just falls under the cell D21. So you can see type there. You can see type the equal sign, then type the cell where it falls on. Like D, you can type it manually, but the easiest way is just click on it. Then you automatically show it out for you. Then you do the same for the 85,400 after putting your minus sign. That's it. It's not really complicated. If they have any question, they can ask that question.
Okay.
Yeah, so that
Good
was
evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
What if is there any other form of variance, or do we have types, maybe like a inverse variance, or that
Yeah,
can result in maybe
we have
previous from current or current from previous, maybe an inverse functioning.
we have so many of them, but I don't want to scare us with a lot of maths. We have so if you want to actually calculate normal variance, then we have to start doing things with standard deviation, and there are a lot of standard deviations and variance. We will do that. Like, let's get a solid grasp of what we are doing before we are going to do advanced. We are going to not advanced. We are going to touch statistics a little bit once I establish our understanding of how to write these formulas. So, but for now, we can just do this to know what's the variance between this and that. Just simple this thing. As we progress, it will start getting a bit difficult.
Okay.
Please, can I see the equation again in the cells, the variance equation?
Okay. Once you click it, if we are done, I'll drop this sheet for us. But I'll try and write there. I'll try and document it more like writing comments for them. So this is just saying here, that's current minus previous all over current.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is fine. This is fine. This is not like what I feared, but we'll have one that will behave like that. For variance, are we supposed to have a negative value? Variance is just variance, so there's no point having a negative value. So we are supposed to use absolute value to treat that. But let's not complicate things very early. But there's nothing like negative variance. We are just looking for how far it deviated from what we had last year. We are not supposed to be having a negative this, negative that. So, but let's leave it. I will show you how to handle that as we progress. There's a function called absolute value, just ABS. Absolute value. If you say equals ABS, that's the function. So with this function now, you supply a number. Any number you give it, it will return the positive value. So if we do this, I'll give it minus 6. It's supposed to return 6. If we do the same thing and give it 6, it will return the same value. If we give it 6, it will return the same value.
But if we do the same thing for the negative 43, it's going to give us 43, which is it's showing that was a loss. And if it's showing 43%, it means it's a gain. So I think is there no formula which can give us like just make it 0? I think something like that should be better that way. If the negative 43 should be 0.
We'll soon get to that. No, it's not. We are looking for variance. Is more like how what's the like at what percent does it did it migrate from what, like the difference between it and,
Uh,
yeah, it's more like
I
what
get
I'm
it.
trying to, yeah, but I didn't want to go into the concepts. Variance,
Okay.
how far did it vary from the value? So there's no negative, or we don't have negative variances. If you are looking for loss, like what we did here can actually give us the, what we did here can give us that kind of no, none of this can give us that. There's a but let's not worry about that for now. But if you want to treat this kind of value, you're going to, because if we supply absolute value, let's say for here, mm, if we decide to protect ourselves against that, we can just say for all of them, we can just say ABS. We can say ABS. Since we know we don't want to see anything negative, absolute value, we put everything in absolute value and enter. So it will still return wherever it's positive, it will return positive for us. Wherever it's negative, it will return that negative for us. So this way we have protected ourselves against that negative value. So what's the percentage variance from this our value is 43%, but we are not having negative values. So this is absolute value. But let's not worry about that for now. Like I just want us to get the basics of what we are doing. So the other stuff is, and we are spending time now. So now, what if we now have a, like, let's just do that from what we already have. I think we're on this sheet. So from what we already have, let's say from here now, if we want to calculate, let's say we have a total, we can say here equals total. Let me insert one more row. So we have a row. I want to say our total here. Let's say total is equals, sorry, total, and our total is equals, we can say sum, right? We can use sum to sum all of these and enter. So this totals all of this for us. If we want to calculate the percentage of this total contributed by North, we want to see how much North contributed, how much South contributed, and all of that. We can have a column for that. We can just say this regional percentage. We can say regional percentage. So forgive my laziness if I'm doing this. I just don't want to be typing much. So if we have a regional percentage here, I want to calculate uh how much each region contributed. So what do? We just say this divided by the total, right? This divided by the total, this divided by the total, this divided by total. So our regional percentage is gonna be equals, we can do equals this all over this. Yes. Okay. So if we do this all over that, we see that not contributed 0 point. Okay, this is not, we've not formatted this. Do we understand what we are doing? What's not calculated all over the whole, like the totality of them, will give us what the percentage contributed by nodes. The same thing for, like, if you understand this formula, you understand all of them now, because that's what I'm going to put down. You can still alternatively say all over sum, all of them. But that's exactly what I did there. So there's no point rewriting that. So this gives us that. You can also say all over, you start adding them one after the other. You can say all over itself plus this plus this plus this and enter. No, that stuff is happening again. So with this is also simple, I presume. What's happening? Why are you skewing my? This is C13. See this, see this, see this. It's supposed to be now. So we have 25% contributed by this. We can run it down and it will give us exactly, this one contributed 17%, this contributed 11%, this contributed 22%. So the highest contributor is North, followed by West, then 17 and 11. You find out that if you still sum all of these, you have 100% if we didn't make any mistake. So we can say this equals a sum just for us to, so we can, that did not add up.
Because the cells will have shifted. If you look at the addresses as you are moving
Oh,
the cells.
yeah. Thank you so much. So thank you for that observation. Yeah. So that's true. That's true. Thank you so much for that observation. So what are we going to do that? We now do what? We have to fix them. But because I don't want to be fixing all of these, I'm going to do what? I'm going to just use the sum. But again, if we do that sum, it's still going to, or let me just say, since we already have there, I have to just fix here. Let me fix here so that it doesn't move away from that. Thank you so much for that observation. So that's why it's not giving us what we needed. So with this now, we have 25, 25, and we run down, we should have this. So that this now should give us a sum of, this now should give us some of these, and we should have that 100%. So thank you so much. So that's it. You have to be very careful when you're writing a relative distance because it moves. If you don't fix where you're supposed to fix it, we are just referring to this as the total. If you don't want to write it as the total and you want to do this, there's still a way for you to write it. But you should just be careful, just be aware of that relative and absolute whatever. So do we have questions so that we'll move to running totals? Does anyone have any question where you want me to clarify on percentages before we move to the next? If you have a question, ask, please. So for the ladies, we are in order now? All right, let me move.
Yes, sir. We are good to go. You are good to go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So what we are doing is not that tough, and I will send this one here to us. So I'm going to delete this so we have more room. I'm going to clear this. So now I want us to talk about running totals. If you want to talk about running totals, let's clear everything. If you want to talk about running totals, that means on January, ourselves we sold maybe let's say we are selling in money or we are selling in number of units sold. We sold 78. So the running total, our total that we have sold for this year on January is 78, right? But when we move to February, we now have what we sold for February plus what we sold previously, which will give us 141. So if we do for March, we should now have a value added to like it's adding all of these. As we progress, it will add all of this, give you here. If you progress, it will add this 17 to get this, to get this, to get this. So if you want to write that kind of this thing, let me bring this over. So if you want to do that, let's give someone should give me some value. Let me say months. And if you have months, we have units. So right, so we are going to have January. and enter. But we know if we have things like this, they are series, so we can easily help ourselves with this and have up to December. So that feels up for us, right? We can decide to format this and this as headings. So create your own custom style so that you'll be working fast. It's make you fast and it also make you consistent. If you want to start styling this one after the other, it might take us time. So here, we want to say unit sold. So maybe I can just join this here and say, this is more like, we can say running total here. Running totals. And enter. We want to format. You can console files on there. So now we have, so let's say, give me some values now. But if it's in hundreds, we should remember, we can say we sold the 102, let's say 105, and we sold the, on February, we sold the 96. Then here, we sold 115, 115. Then we have the 112. Then we have 123. And we have 90. We have 111. So for July, we only had 87. We had 63. I'm assuming what we are selling is a sweater. So people don't buy on June, July, August. But once we are getting to Hamatan, they start buying again. In fact, October, they are going to buy, but there's no Hamatan this year. So they are going to buy 150. So here they bought 152. So yeah. What do we have for this? 1, 4, 3, 7, whatever. And we have 14. So whatever we have, they are just values. So now if you want to have let me move to this. Want to have subtotals or totals, running totals. Running totals. What happens? We simply do what? Equals. We are going to say equals. We are going to sum what we have between this and any value we meet. So because we are going to sum between this and other values, we will start from here. You know, for the first one, we are going to just add this. For the second one, we add starting from here to this point. So the second value is changing. For the third one, we are going to add starting from here. So where we are starting is always constant. So that way, because we know we always start from the same cell, we are going to fix that. And say, here you go. So with this now, I don't know, look at the from what we did. We are starting from this absolute address and stopping at this relative address. So the relative address and the absolute address are actually pointing to the same cell. But we know if we move, it's going to change. So for here is 105, but once we start moving, it now becomes, you see, starting from that sum of this and this. It now starts from this and stops here. If we move again, it will keep changing, and that's how we calculate our. So do we have any We understand what we are doing now.
Yes, sir. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Just the application of our relatives and
That's just it. So if you don't understand, always indicate so that we don't keep running because we are moving, but we'll soon get to. Or let me quickly. We understand. I know we understand. If we go over what we are doing, we should be able to define. So that's how we calculate our running totals. If we are doing SQL, we'll start writing. There's something we'll write to still give us exactly what we did. If we are on SQL, we'll call them Windows functions. So we'll write some Windows functions to give us what we want. So this to make our stuff look good. So under running totals, we could also decide to check the percentage increase and the percentage decrease. So someone should help me. I want to have some values. This is the cost price that will be selling it, and we now have a percentage increase of 11 or a value. Someone should help me and give me what we should have as our final value. So with this and these handles are zero divisors. So with this now, what do? We can say uh, items or products. Mm, uh, we can say price or cost. Then percentage increase slash decrease. Then we have our final price. So see, we can have our final. Why is this happening? I have our final price. So after we've increased it, how much do we now have? So for now, we are going to have product A, or we say can say product A, right? Or we can say. So give me a product now. We can say product pomade. I don't know if this is how they spell pomade. We can say for pomade was how much? We can say pomade was 850, and after some stuffs, we had the percentage. So someone should help me now. We have a percentage increase of let's say we have 3.0. We have 3.2% increase. So what should be the final? We also have we can have scissors. Why am I looking for things I can't spell? So we can say we have
uh, mm,
um,
let's say
um, 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 so this one increases by the percentage increases 4.1%. So what do we do?
we multiply the price by the percentage of increase
So we are going to say equals
equals
this multiplied by this
this.
and enter. But that gives us the final price shoots.
Ah,
This is the
yes, yes,
increase.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that's the increase. Fine.
So we can just say
Increase plus the price.
yeah. So we can say this, and we have so with that 3.2% increase, we now have this. We can format this and this as we can format this as money. So can anyone try here? Otherwise, we can just, since this is this and this, we can factor this out. and do our factorization. Say 1 plus am I doing what I'm supposed to? So we can say 1 plus space this and enter. This is 19. So why are you saying?
I think the space could be affected that.
No, the
Please,
space
can
is
you
not a
take it
problem.
again?
Okay. You know, if we have some increase in price, D19 are coming. This is D19. This is C19. So what's giving us that error? I'm coming before we factorize. You know, if we have a percentage increase, we are going to calculate the increase and add it to the initial price, which was what he did. So to do that, we do what? This is equal to this value plus this value multiplied by what? This value multiplied by the increase will give us the increase, right? So when we say this value, which is this, plus the increase is going to be this multiplied by this now. We hit enter. So that gives us equals no. So this should give us this amount plus the percentage increase. I don't know if you understand that. We had this price and we had an increase. So what we are going to do is to add this price, the original price, to the little increase. This is the little increase. To get the increase, we just do original price multiplied by the percentage it's increased. That's why we are having this value. So what I was trying to do, since let's not go into that factorization, I was looking for trouble. Is this one clear to us? How we got here? So if we pull down, let's say we have many of them, it's supposed to calculate them for us. Let's still do one that there was a decrease. There was a decrease. You know, decrease, we are still not going to calculate a negative percentage. So after, if we know it's a decrease, where we had our plus, we are going to have a minus for a decrease. I don't know if we got this, so I'm trying to be a bit fast.
Sorry, I don't get the. You can go over the percentage increase again.
Okay, now let's say if we are selling for 100 naira, right? If we have a product that we are selling for 100 naira and there's a 12% increase on the price, right? What do we do? Let's say this is equals 100. The price is 100. The price for this is 100, right? I will now say this is equal to, if you want to calculate, there's a 12% increase. So the 12% increase is going to be 12 over 100 multiplied by 1 if you want to. So it's going to be 12 over 100 if we have a 12% increase. So to have a 12% increase, we can just say 0 points, or we can say 12% multiplied by 12%. 12% is 0.12 multiplied by this. Okay, I have not written equality. Equals this, sorry, multiplied by this. So we know when we have a 12% increase on 100, it's going to be 12. So if we want to get the final value, you know how we got this? This is 0.12
Sorry, please,
times.
can we use other number instead of 100? You know, percentage is 100.
Yeah, I just use 100, so it will be easier. Okay, so for this, if we use
Let's make it 150.
Okay, so I'm coming. We can equals 0.12 multiplied by this. I'm coming, we can now change it. So we can put 150 here. 150. So it calculates that for us. It's now 18. So 18 is what was added. Our final value is going to be initial price plus the percentage increase. So this can now be equals this plus this. We have 168 as the final. It was 150. We had a 12% increase, which added up to 18. So when we add two of them together, we have this. So that was exactly what he did. This is our initial value, which is this. And this is our initial value multiplied by 3%. You know, D12 is 3%. So that's how we got that.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone that doesn't understand, if you just do a little bit of if you go over there, you should be able to understand. It's good. It's not that you don't understand how to write Excel formulas, that it should be maybe because you don't understand and I know you now understand. I'm spoiling this, so that's that. How do we mess things up? This is common, which is why. So that's it. That's how we got to that point. Let me clear this. I had much more things for us to cover today. A lot of things. So that's that. I think we should be done with this idea of percentage total. So the only thing again is how to deal with negative values. You know, you cannot divide any value with 0. If you divide by 0, it's going to give, and we used to say undefined, right? So what if,
undefined.
what if you have a place where you now need to bring in that undefined value? So if you have a formula which is going to result to an undefined value, there's a way to protect against that, which is what I'm going to do now. So let's watch. This is not difficult, but it just requires, I'm going to introduce a new concept anyway. So here we are dealing with budgets and actual values. So we have a budget of 200 and we achieve this. So we are going to be dividing our actual value by our budget to see the percentage. It's exactly what we've been doing before. So let me copy this and paste there. So we are going to have this value, and I can say, what are we calculating against? We can say percentage, whatever. What I just want to do is to show you how to protect against this thing. So for this, we can change our values if we want, but we can leave that as what it is. So for this, if we say equals, normal, we are going to say actual value divided by our budget now. So if we say equals actual value all over our budgets, we are going to run into a situation. So this gives us okay, let's format this as percentage. You know, if you don't format where it will give you, it will look as if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So when we do this, we are having 100% because this person set a budget of $200 and achieved $200. But this one set a budget of $0 and surprisingly achieved $100. So if we divide this against this, if we do this, it will break our code or formula. So this is giving us a zero div. That is telling us that we have a zero divisor, division by 0. So that is what it's telling us. So this is not correct. In order to protect against this, we can alternatively write something like equals if. So we are going to use our if statement or if operator. One thing about all these formulas or functions is when you type them, IntelliSense will tell you how to use it. This is what we call code signature, or it will just tell you how to use it. So this one says logical test. So you're going to write what you're testing against, value it should give you if it's true, and value it should give you if it's false. So we want to test if any of these values is 0. So if it's 0, we give it we give our custom value, much like what we did in our, there was something we did like that in SQL, where we did a null if, right? We did this null. It's null. If this is
Yes,
null,
we did
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so that's exactly, we have this version for this. So we are going to say if this is equal to 0, let me just write a very simple one, comma, value if true. So if it is true that this is equal to 0, just give us 0. Otherwise, now give us this value. Now give us this over this. So we close that. We still have
It does it 100%.
yeah, we still have 100%. But if we drag this down, we find out that this
Do
is no
not
longer giving us error. It will return 0 where it fails, because here it is true that C25 is equal to 0 is true now, right? So whenever we have 0, give us 0. Whenever this value is 0, because we are dividing by it, give us 0. Otherwise, give us this. We can also say, based on what we know, we can also say, this is what I don't like about Excel. We can also say, don't worry, I'll do that over. We can also say, if this is like this, give us, this is how, there we used to use the single quotes for strange, here we use double quotes. We can say, cannot divide by 0. So we can do this and have our stuff. It is still doing well, but wherever we have that stuff, it will just give us cannot divide by 0. Then in other situations, it will do well. Do we have, I should explain it again. Did we understand what we did?
I'm okay with it.
How about others?
Yes.
So if we are all fine by that, then I'm going to replace this formula that says this is fragile, this can easily break. I'm going to replace this. What are you doing? So I'm going to replace that. Let me just say 1 since I'm overwriting it. I'm going to replace this with this. So it's not only that side that we draw. We can draw over to this side too. This is not broken, right? Okay, so we can have this and draw this. Why are you not doing that? You should be fine too now. Okay, you know why? This is not an absolute reference. So it's moved to B. We should have C here. So that's why we are having a. That's why it's failing. This is C. If C24 is equal to 0, cannot divide by 0, otherwise give us. Why are you? All right, okay. C24. Okay, otherwise give us, this is D. D24 over. Is that B that is messing things up? So with this, this thing is now fine. We can pull down and it does exactly what we need from it. So we should clear everything. So maybe we want to see everything. We can. So you got that, but I don't think this is fine. You can just say 0. Point it as 0. 0 in value, not in text or change. So this way we just have this. I hope we understand what we did here. We do, yes. So now we are going to talk about random values. I think because I had another this thing. I wanted us to also touch on text analysis today, but this is our time is just running today. So look at this now. We want to count values in a range. So with that, I'm going to move this over and still clear everything. It's all contained in other list, and I'll share them. So I'm going to clear. I'm going to clear everything. So we start afresh. So let's say
There
we
is also
prefer. Okay, yeah, you wanted to say
there's
something.
also there's also a short way to like delay this. Once you highlight it, you can just right click on the highlighted section. That's quick. It's
Okay,
just a tip for
okay. So
someone else.
if I do this,
Right click
okay,
and just clear
okay,
content.
okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So that works too. That's if you want to use the that works too.
If you
Thank
want to
you.
still keep the design, then just remove only the data. That's it.
Yeah. So for this, thank you so much for that tip. So for this, what do we? I want to do this. We want to count how many persons failed, how many persons. Ordinarily, we are not supposed to be using fail and one, but I just want to make these points. So we have fail in text, we have one in a value, and want to write this thing for that. So I don't think I'll be doing this. We just do this. Smart English. So let's move here and say answer here. So I want to calculate for mathematics, English, basic science, and maybe we can have which other subjects? We can have so for students, Mike, I'm going to pass everything. I don't want to pay. So whenever we have one, we know we have passed, like the person passed it. So I'll try and give myself up to 3 at least. Then I'll fail English because I don't even like it. So now we have maybe we can have our Mr. Clovis. Stop now. Clovis. So he's going to not write this. He has not written this, and he's going to pass this, then fail here, and pass this. So we can have who else? Mrs. Dosey. I think is her name, and she's doing well in maths, does well in English, and maybe fails to write this other one. So she has not written this and she failed this. Right. So maybe we can make do with this. We can make do with this. So finally, let's say we want to count uh where he failed and where he didn't fail. So if you want to count how many subjects Mike has written, I can say number of subjects written, and we can say that. So for here we have number of subjects written. So to calculate number of subjects written, there is a function called counts. And like I told you, once you type the name of the function, if you just type it, once you type equals and you start typing the function, this will tell you, look at it. It will say count the number of cells in the range that contains number. So if we are looking for this one says count all, that's count A, count all. counts the number of cells in the range that is not empty. So we can make deal with this, and it asks us to enter the values. So we can enter those values, or we just supply this and close it. So you see, Mike has written 4 subjects, right? Because these are non-empty. But if you put this down, you'll find out that if you put this down, no, yes, putting this down, this is not. So why? This is count A. So this is supposed to give us, we have, this is not empty, this is not empty, this is not empty, this is empty. So why are we having 4? So if it's giving you anything you don't like, you inspect that formula again. You say count A. So when we come to count A, it tells us exactly what it does again. Counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Then when you click it, it will give you the function signature. So this is value 1, value 2, value 3. That's
It's
the range.
correct. No? I think it's correct.
Yeah. So why is it not giving us?
It's actually correct.
Yeah.
It's correct.
Okay, it's correct.
Yeah.
How? This one is empty now.
Maybe you have already typed something inside it.
Yeah, let me try putting it again. So that's the concept anyway. It's still not giving. So that's the concept. Maybe you can verify. You can when you're pressing on your own, you find out why it's not giving us what it's supposed to give us. Then we still have another variation that counts. The other variation counts. We have once you type equals counts. Excel is very sweet if you understand. So you have counts, count A, then count blank. So this one counts the blank values. Like if you want to now check for the number of subjects that have not been written by Mike, we can say number of subjects remaining. So how many subjects are remaining for Mike to write? So with that, we just enter count blank. So this one is going to count blank for us. Count blank. So it still tells us counts the number of empty cells in a specified range. So we are going to use this to know how many subjects that is remaining for me to write. So we just do this and we close it. That gives us 0 because I've written all my subjects. But Mr. Clovis, why is this giving us? There's no value here. Okay, there's a value here. There's a white space there. So it was correct. There was a white space there. You see, now it's calculating fine. So you should also check for that. And if time permitted, I had wanted to show us how to handle that. So you can also say, let's see, we can now count how do we now count how many persons failed? In this case, let's say we want to check how many persons failed in all of this. We can say number of students or number of failures. Once we count failures, So if we want to count failures, we know that one counts everything. That's equals count A, count all, right? That's count A now, count all. So we are going to split it this. This is how we have, right? So if we count all, it's only going to count the ones that are non-empty. So it counts not this, the ones that are non-empty. So if you want to see how many failed, we now say minus count. It's just a small mass. Minus counts. So counts, we know that counts let's say count minus count. Count the number of cells in a range that contains number, not everything. This one counts everything. This one counts number. So since this is not number and this is not number, if we count everything that is number and minus the ones that are not number, it will give us our value. So we are going to say count, still the same range. And we close that. So we see that 3 persons have failed. 1, 2, 3. You can look this up and see that's exactly
Can
what.
we use count if there, sir? Is
Yeah,
there
there's
any
count.
function like count if?
Yeah, there's something like that. But that now means we are going to start writing our. If we want to do count if, there is equals count if. That's this. So it's going to count if a condition is satisfied.
Fail. They will just say
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah. Count if so we are going to, it's not going to work the way you think. It's not going to, we'll get to that, but there's a function like that.
I'll try it again. I'll
Okay,
try it
okay, yeah,
tomorrow.
you can just shake it up, look it up online, then do other stuff. So
Okay,
there
sir.
is, in this case, you start writing the functions. I mean, you start writing the conditions. So that's that. Now let's treat this thing. I had wanted us to handle text, but it feels like that's what we'll be doing in our next class since we don't have time. Okay, so let's talk about rounding. So this one talks about rounding values. So I'm going to still copy this value. I'm going to copy Control C and paste here. Let's paste it here. Then I'll copy this and still paste here. So once you just do, let's say, once you do rounding up numbers, once you round to certain significant figures. What am I doing? So all we are doing today is simple. But starting from our next class, we enter text, which we require us to do some not difficult, but just beautiful things. So copy this from here. Paste here. Why are you not copying? So let's enter the values, but you should copy now. Control C. Does anyone know why it's not pasting? All right, so let's enter them ourselves. We should just enter some random values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know it's always the same for here. How many should it be? Points. All right. So let's do just 2. I want to, when you know how we used to round to so significant figures now, and all of those, that's what we are going to do here. So here to round this thing, we just use the round function. Of course, when you're typing it, it's telling you how it works. So rounds a number to specify the number of digits. We are going to use this and say this. So we are going to, if you look at it, you see that the function signature is you give the number you want to round, and you give the number of digits. So we are going to do comma, number of digits. Maybe we want to see this in two significant figures. So that's just it. You hit enter. It will round it up to that number of the significant figures. So let's say all of these I want to push. You see all the figures was not showing. Like Excel on its own applies some random. But if you want to see, so this is everything we had. And if you want to push it more, if you want to have more zeros, you find out that every other is zeros every other thing. It does what we used to do now. So the numbers behind it, like this one now, if we run this is going to be 7.4 because it's up to 5. Just our normal math. So we draw this down and it does the magic for us. So this is now 7.4. If you want to have this same number of the decimal places, it will zero every other thing. So, but maybe we can just reduce that to, since we are rounding to 2. But there's something I want to show you. You understand what we are doing, right? Do you understand what we did?
Yes, sir.
How about others? So what we did is same form, but the only thing I would like to tell us is, what if, because now let's say we have, let me yank this number up. Let's say we have this. I don't want to have the decimal parts. If I don't have the decimal parts, so see, I don't have any decimal number. It's no longer fraction now. We only have this, and I decide to format this to remove all these plenty. So if we have this kind of number and we have this, let me also push this away. Now let's say we have, when you have plenty number, like let's say we are counting in billions, the way we are trailing off our decimal parts because we feel it's inconsequential or insignificant. If we have numbers running in, let's say millions, we can have 7 we have 3. So this is 7 million. What if we have so if we have a value that is this large, if we have a value that is this large, all these ones becomes insignificant to us. Let's say this is 777 million, 123,000, 123,000. I think this more than 707. So if we have this much numbers, does it still make any sense that we are counting our 69? Like we are paying if someone is paying in dollars, and this person is paying, let's say this is 77,000, this is 1, 2. Let's just leave it at 77 million for the value. I don't want to, that one is 777 million, right? So let's leave it as 772364. So if we do a transaction and we are supposed to pay 77 million, 123,000, does it really matter to us if you're paying this 450 naira? Like it gets to a point, if a number gets large to a point, all these ones that they are like the unit parts start becoming insignificant. Like you can either leave it for the person or asking the person to now pay 77 million, because I can't come and start telling you that what I'm selling my car is 77 million 123,456 naira. So if I tell the person I'm selling it for 77 million, the person will say I can pay 7.5 or 7.2. So this kind of large numbers, you see that negotiation or all transactions performed on them barely run down to these units like 6 naira, 15 naira, all of those. So these ones are no longer significant. Just the way we used to throw away from our distance, we can also throw away from here. So how do we do that? If we use our formula, maybe we are rounding to two significant places, it's not having any effect on that because whenever we have a positive number, it's working on the decimal part. But if I decide to add minus here and do this, You see that this is now, like this 56 is no longer significant. It adds 2 zeros. It converts these to zeros and improves this. This is up to 5. It improves it to 1 and adds to this. This becomes 5. So we have 5 here. So the same way we can yank this up. So negative numbers work on the I don't even like, for this kind of figure, 77 million. I think our negotiation should be in order of let's say 5. So what this is doing is just zeroing. If you put 1, it will 0 1, 0 2, 0 3, 0 4. So for this, we are going to have this so that our negotiation makes sense. If I tell you I'm selling for 77 million, it makes sense when you now say I'll add 100,000 to it. How about 77.1? You say 77.5. So our negotiation is in this order. So this is how to with this now, you see, with our values, which had a lot of small numbers, we have kicked them out and we are dealing with this. It also helps you when you're doing your visualization or you're plotting whatever. If you're visualizing all of these, I don't know, you have to like, we used to plot in a grid soon. I have to look for a way to choose your units very well to accommodate all those small values. So sometimes it makes sense to do this, both on the fractional part and the integer part. I don't know if we got it. We should get it. It's not difficult. We got it, right?
Yes, sir, we are getting it.
Yeah. So I think we should call it a day for today. I had wanted us to go into analyzing text, searching text too, but it seems like we don't have time again. So this is 8:54.
Next class will be
Let's
better.
let's ask questions if we have. Or should I ask my own?
Yes.
What should I ask? I don't know what to ask. Okay, let me. All these things are basics now. We all understand them. We understand them. So let me ask, if I want to what if I want to have both the fractional part and if I want to have this in fractional and also this map points, but it doesn't make sense now. If we trail it off from here, there's no point having a fractional part. But I think if we want to have that, we can just use our what is our stuff. So let's call it a day. If we don't have questions, practice it. You'll be
Okay.
able to get it. Yeah, I'll send this for you to practice. I will also write comments wherever we write, wherever there is a formula. I'll write a comment that will explain it. So you click on it, it will explain to you what we've done. I will send that today or tomorrow. Then I want you to help practice it, because if you practice it, our next class will be very easy. It will just be a piece of cake. But if you don't, then you strain my voice, because I will be going over and over. If you missed our previous class, try watching it. If you have not attended any class on Excel, you can just watch the last 2 classes. That way our class will just be the way we did it today, and so we just do and they go. Very easy they go. But if you don't practice, it becomes a problem for both me and you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We'll keep on practicing. And if we face any difficulties, we'll definitely bring it up.
Yeah, just bring them up. You can post them on this
In the group.
thing. Yeah, someone might pick it. This thing won't do me that thing. Wait, do that there. Okay, I will not allow you. Okay, so thank you so much. Let's call it a
Should
day.
we log out?
Yeah, if I end it, everyone
Yeah,
is logged out.
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. Good night, guys.
Yeah, good night.
All right. Thank you very much and have a great evening.
All right, good night.